Rob, welcome to the Naples Daily News Editorial Board. Could you take a minute or 90 seconds here and kind of familiarize folks with who you are for those who don't know you
Sure.
already?
I go by Rob Boyer. I've been a resident of East Naples since 1981, and I've been a firefighter for over 40 years in the fire service. I started out as a volunteer fireman in Lake Placid, New York. I raised to the captain's position, and when I left that area I moved to Naples to get a job here in the fire department. I'm the first guy ever in history to become an honorary member of that fire department after leaving the department. I was also fire chief during the 1980 Winter Olympics at the helicopter VIP port. I've been involved in Lely High School sports boosters. Did that for 17 years. Did Toys for Tots, Santa Claus. Did Babe Ruth work in baseball. Helped out with swim team with my daughter's swim team, and helped out with the soccer team and also the baseball team. Expanded the field at East Naples Middle School with donations, so we were getting injuries off that field as Babe Ruth players, and raised the funds and extended the field to prevent injuries. Very active in the local union, was a charter member of the Benevolent Fund. Speaking of charter, I was also the charter member of the Lake Placid Volunteer Ambulance Service, where I was the head driver in charge of training and did the maintenance and building facility. Actually built the building that we started. It was an old funeral home converted service, and the volunteers took it over and started from ground zero and brought it all the way up to even today's status.
You mentioned you moved to Naples. What year was that?
1981.
And joined
February 10th, matter of fact. It was my wedding anniversary.
Okay. And did you join the East Naples Fire Department right then?
About 2 months later.
Okay. Was that as a paid position at that time?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Can you tell us a little bit about your length of time on the board so far?
Well, I've been with the East Naples Fire Department on the board. This is completing my 8th year. I was 16 years with Collier Mosquito Control, past chairman and member of that board, and I've been a chairman twice with the East Naples Fire Rescue. I've seen a lot of changes in the past 8 years. The biggest thing was the financial urgency and the financial need of the district. But I'm very, very pleased to announce that this is the first year that I know of history in 34, 35 years that East Naples Fire Department does not owe a payment to anybody. No mortgages on the property, no truck payments, nothing. We just now bought a new ladder truck and tanker. We had impact fee, paid most of the money, and we took money out of the fund and paid it off in full. We are completely solvent. We have property that we're trying to sell. Financially, it's the best the district has been in. The men financially took a cut in pay 5-6 years ago, and they've had some raises, but they're not back up to where they were back when the crisis hit us, when the tax appraiser lowered the value of 42% in our district.
What's been the key in the last 3 years? The district was about $3 million in debt back about 3 years ago. What's been the key in the last 3 years that's caused a financial turnaround?
Well, one thing is the growth in East Naples, the construction. We're the first time ever, number one, more permits pulled in East Naples Fire District than anywhere else in the county. We're right now about 50%. According to the Fire Code Review Board.
Should the firefighters be back to where they were, pay-wise?
Could you rephrase that question?
You said they took a financial hit during the tough times.
Right.
They've got some raises since,
right,
but they're not back to the level they were.
Correct.
If you're reelected, is that a goal of yours to bring them back to that level, or are they about right now? Or?
We're going to negotiate to bring things par to that level. Fringe benefits, there's a total package. It isn't
right.
just dollars and cents. For every dollar you give an employee, we have to pay out 42 cents out of that dollar for benefits. So the idea is to get them back to their purchasing power where they were before.
What about your views on consolidation with Golden Gate? Where are you coming in on that?
I'm glad you brought that up. I've always been the watchdog for the people and the voters of our district. I feel that it was up to the voters to tell us to go ahead and do the consolidation. The vote so far has not showed that in the past, but this November 4th, the voters get to vote and tell us exactly what they want. The bill that's up for vote, I believe it's going to pass.
Would you recommend one way or another as far as voters, whether they should vote for it or against it?
I would recommend voters do their homework. Study the issues. Where is the true cost savings? Do you want to give up your local East Naples status that everything's been paid for? Back when financial problems started, East Naples was the last fire department to see the financial urgency under its management. And now we're out of the financial side because of growth in the area and proper management of the funds, and the firefighters have stepped up to the plate and done their fair share.
You've been on the board here for a while, as you've mentioned to us here. Why do you think you've drawn two challengers in this race this time around?
You'd have to ask those two challengers. You could possibly go to the law firm where they were both working, and one other commissioner sits as a law partner.
What's your relationship as far as getting along with the union here?
With the present union,
Yes.
very good.
Have they come out in terms of endorsing you or any?
Some members have. I have been told officially as a board of union, they have not endorsed anybody. But I've heard candidates claim they've been endorsed, and I've had other board members say to me they chose not to endorse. So it could be individual. I haven't studied it that hard, haven't pried into that.
Did they invite all the candidates in for an interview with the union, so
No,
to
they
speak?
didn't.
Okay. So apparently whatever endorsement's been made, been based on individual contacts or perceptions?
You'd
or
have to
whatever.
ask them, but that's how I take it.
You had some concerns about a fire truck being taken to a candidates forum recently. Can you describe that a little bit?
There is a ladder truck from Golden Gate that came into East Naples Fire Rescue District at the East Naples Regional Library, and they attended the platform of political. All 7 candidates were there debating.
Do you have any idea if those on-duty firefighters bringing that truck?
Yes, they were on duty.
When did that occur?
Thursday at 5:30 p.m.
Is that something that you feel like you can bring up to the board, or how are you going to proceed with pursuing anything on that, or are you?
Well, we'll have to see what the chief does and if staff recommendations, what's going on.
But these were Golden Gate firefighters, not
They're
East
Golden Gate,
Naples.
they're not East Naples.
How's the relationship with the city fire department in light of the city choosing not to participate in the closest units response system, at least so far?
Well, as a board, we haven't discussed that yet. That just happened recently. They have several pieces of property off Goodlet Road that East Naples has got to drive through all their area to get to. And the only reason I know why they didn't incorporate them is there is no tax base. They took where they could get the money and left which didn't pay. The senior citizens high rise Goodland Arms Apartments is one, the post office, two, the zoo, three. They've taken, where were they, Poinciana School, elementary school was another one. They took the property around it and left the school because there's no tax base. I'd like to see them step up to the plate and take care of the properties in their district, not pick and choose.
And conversely, East Naples covers parts of the city, or has stations closer to parts of the city than the city fire stations do, and I think traditionally
Yes.
have provided fire protection there. Should East Naples continue to do that in light of what you just described?
Well, they made some of this financial issues for East Naples. They took away tax base, and they had to pay up to 4 years revenue to the East Naples when they took it over. It appears to be that they take the money but doesn't seem to provide the service to the people that they're receiving their millage rate from.
Does it, when the East Naples covers an area like Hamilton Harbor or something like that, does the city pay East Naples something for that?
The city of Naples has not paid a dime to the East Naples Fire Department since the takeover. They had to pay the first 4 years by state statute, and then after that they have not paid a dime.
Should East Naples look for a little something there?
I think financial compensation to the East Naples Fire Department. Why should East Naples Fire District pay for the city? The city came out there and took that area away from East Naples. If they wanted to provide service, they should do it, not take the money and not provide services. Somebody's questioned me, is that theft of services? It depends on how you look at it.
At the beginning, you talked a little bit about additional equipment that the district has added. Can you talk a little bit going forward, whether you see the need for more expansion of stations or more equipment?
Yes, we are in the process now of relocating one station off of 951 because of the growth that's happened out there and having to build bridges and so forth. It would cost us $2 to $2.5 million to get ready to use the land. We purchased the land back, I think, in 1990, and we're trading and making which is ongoing for some other partial. We have another partial land that we're looking at building on out at Lake Park in US 41, Tamiami Trail. Centrally located. You can drive in towards town 3 minutes time. You can drive from station 23 3 minutes time, and both trucks should cross one another after 3 minutes of pulling out of their station if they were to leave at the same time. Ultimately, that's the goal, what you want. Your 6 minutes response from one station to the other. If they had to, so in other words, if you had a fire next door, the gas station next door was on fire, and that other station came, it's a 6 minute total. But if you're crossing one another, the proper layout is to have a 3 minute layover, and that's exactly what this is.
What about going out further east and also going down toward Marco, Fiddler's Creek, and that area? What are your views in terms of expansion of the district and adding stations out that way?
Fiddler's Creek has continued to want to annex themselves from Isles of Capri, and they want to come into the East Naples Fire Rescue for a reduction in millage. That's ongoing. Isles of Capri has voted, 13 votes said no. I said if you could have converted 7 of those votes, it would have been 1 in favor. So it won in the absentee, it won in the early voting to change in the day of the election with people outside holding signs, swayed the voter, and they have it their way. I foresee them financially having big problems. Some of the firefighters have already put in their notices, or they're going to be hired out at the I-75 fire station that was paid for by federal grant money in their payroll. 5, from what I understand, are going out there. And then if you take the other section, there's rumor that another section of Isles of Capri is thinking about annexing too. on the left side of the road heading towards Marco, and that would straighten up the property line for East Naples Fire Department. Because you actually go in the zone, out of East Naples, then you come back in for a few yards before you hit Marco Island. Is where the line is actually drawn.
Are you adequately staffed? Say all these people do come into East Naples, are you adequately staffed down that direction still to meet them?
Well, we would fill that station if you're talking about East Naples managing the fire department of Isles of Capri. I don't fully, there's several different plans out there. I don't know which one you're picking.
Right, just say Fiddler's Creek comes to East Naples and that portion you just talked about
Right.
comes to East Naples, but Isle of Capri maintains its own fire department over
Right.
there.
We already service that area anyway. We're first in due because we're closer to that section.
And whatever's responding out of the station there on 951 is adequate to
Station
continue that
23,
in the
yes,
future.
yes. The expansion of Fiddler's Creek, the rest of it, is why the other station is needed with all the housing. It's continually to grow out there. The impact fees will pay for a lot of the development, and there's more growth coming out that section. On the north side of 41, there's a tremendous development under construction right now.
You mentioned a future station on 41,
41 in Lake Park.
Lake Park. Am I familiar with
It's
that?
the road just before you get to Six Ells Farms on the right. There's a gas station there that just closed.
Right. Okay.
What do you hope to accomplish in another term if you're put back into office again?
A smooth transaction for consolidation, or the smooth transaction with the Isles of Capri issues, a working relationship with staff and firefighters, and to represent the voters of East Naples.
You mentioned that you were particularly proud of the fact that East Naples doesn't owe any money
Correct.
right now. Golden Gate, as I understand it, does owe some money.
Yes.
If they two come together, do you know yet how that debt issue would be worked out?
When any merger of any companies come together, it's all one, as I understand it. They have a problem going on with their grant that they've hired their employees under. That will be running out. I've been told they budgeted for it, but until I become one of their commissioners, I haven't got the real inside numbers. They're available, but
Can you tell us how your seat would be affected if the merger goes through, whether you would serve on the consolidated board, or how would that work for your particular seat?
by law I'd have to. If the voters vote to put it through, and by the way, each district has to approve it. Golden Gate has just as much power here as East Naples. If either district says no, it's no. And I will work my hardest to what the voter decides. If they say no, I'm going to work for no. If they say yes, I'm happy to work for yes. And also, there's been some talk of North Naples and the Greater Naples Fire District merging together. So we'll be looking at future mergers as well. But again, it has to come from the people. It should not come from a 5 or 8 man board. It should come from the voice of the people.
Has it been determined yet how the board would take shape if it were consolidated? Would it just everybody on both boards form together to form one board, or would it be fewer members and some folks would be out of a position?
Right now, all members will be active members, and there's a plan. It's in the bill that the people are voting on, how to make it back to a 5 man board. Over time, it will resume back to a 5 person. Golden Gate has 3, East Naples has 5. So right now it'll be 8. Then in 2 years it drops, and in 4 years it's completely a 5 person board.
How do are fire commissioners not paid? Is that correct?
They are paid.
Paid. And is there a benefits package as well?
Yes,
as far as
there
insurance?
is.
Are those levels where they should be? Should they be more? Should they be less?
Should not be more. I think it's just compensation. You get your medical insurance, you get a retirement, which is mandated by the state of Florida, because you are an employee of the district. You do receive pay. Originally it was $500, then it went down, then it's gone down, and now it's gone down this last time.
Okay. So the pay doesn't amount to much, but I suspect the whatever retirement insurance probably has some value to it.
The retirement right now pays about $33 a month into like a 10, one of those K programs. Something similar to that. It isn't exactly that, but it's nationwide is the administrator of it.
Rob, we're right at about 20 minutes now. Are there any final words you want to add to what you've said?
Yes, I've been very proud of my record. I've stood up and been the watchdog for the people of East Naples. I pledge to do the same, keep things above board as much as I have in the past, and continue working for the people. My efforts is to put life, property first, and everything else is you take it one day at a time. But to serve the people is most important to me, and I take my commissionership very seriously, and promise to live with the laws that our state has given us. And please vote Rob Boyer.